being that I'm self-performing so much of this, I'm just trying to sequence this in a way that I can keep moving forward, but I'm not creating a ton of additional work for myself down the road. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Midweek Modern Craftsman. It's been a minute. As I had mentioned, I'm going to be doing these in between everything else I have going on. The long-term goal, well, I guess maybe not long-term. I guess it's short-term, maybe just life-term. I want to be getting over to my build and record some of these midweek style of conversations on the build based on something that we're doing on the build and then put them to YouTube. So instead of me just sitting down speaking to the camera, I can be walking the site, showing you what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, why we're doing it, and dissecting some of that project. So trying to balance and figure out how I'm going to do that with throwing some of these midweeks in, the normal conversations. It's challenging, but that's the goal. So hopefully that rolls out here sooner than later. What else? What else is going on? So let's start with what I have going on. A lot of people have asked me, while you're building your house, are you doing other work? Yes, I am doing other work while I'm building the house. It all depends on timing, stuff that I'm subcontracting, financial aspect of it, if I'm self-performing the work, if I'm looking to build sweat equity, if I have partnerships on the home, all of that dictates what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And then I do have existing clients that want work done. I'm not looking at a ton of new jobs while I'm doing this because this is a full-time job for me. So I'm doing smaller projects right now primarily where I can get done 2 weeks, 3 weeks, nothing massive. I'm not looking to take on huge projects just because I'm doing so much with my own build. So I'm looking to pull back from some of those larger jobs, get to clients that need little things done, or return clients that need little things done, specialty work, custom work. So I have a handful of things that I'm doing right now, as well as my build. Some exterior work since it's nice out. I have some exterior site work type of work for an existing client that we're going to be doing with changing grade. And then I'll get some people in there to plant some topsoil, get some irrigation, that stuff done. I have a really neat elliptical roof, basically a portico, that we're going to tear off here shortly. And then the goal is to build that off-site and then be able to pop that up and then get the copper roof on it. So that's a fairly custom job that I'll be doing a lot of field work, or a lot of shop work, trying to get that all dialed and laid out and framed so that I can then at that point pop it up, flash it in, get the roofer to do their work. That's on an older home. So I have a handful of things that are on my plate while I'm doing my own house. So I'm just trying to juggle those things when I have time, when I have weather, some repair, stuff like that. Just what I've always done in between bigger projects. Is just now the bigger project, instead of being a first floor renovation or a kitchen or an outdoor porch or whatever it may be, the bigger project is my own house. So that's what I have going on for work right now. For those of you who are interested, obviously the podcast, the social end of things, there's a lot going on. The girls are away with Rachel right now, so they just got done school. Selby's going to be in 8th grade next year, which is bonkers. Tilly's going into 5th grade, so they wrapped up school. They wrapped up school late, and they went up to the lake to spend some time with Rachel, Rachel's mom, Rachel's aunt and uncle, and cousins. It's been beginning of July, so I guess in a couple of days it'll be a year since Rachel's dad passed away. So the family's all up there just getting together, spending some time. She has a very small family, so I'm going to head up there for the weekend, for the holiday, and then come back home. But I just had too much stuff going on with work and the house and everything else to head up there. So I can't believe that the girls are going to be in 8th grade and 5th grade. That's wild to me. But my house, what's going on? I'm sure you guys have seen, I got the foundation in. It was a precast foundation, so they took my plan. They took my foundation plan. What I did was I laid out the site, I laid out the corners of my building, and then they sent me all of the specs for what they need as far as our soil bearing, what the architect designed, the size of the building, the height of the building, how many stories, what the live loads are, dead loads, all of those things, and they engineer what you need as far as a gravel base for a footing, how thick, how wide. Your foundation drain is all spec'd work and go. So I pinned out the corners of my building when I did the excavation, and then I overdug it by 3 feet. And then I put my foundation drain in within that gravel footing. And then they put their precast walls directly on top of that. And then you can continue to use that same gravel if you want under your slab. I transitioned over to a clean, and then I put a crushed DGA on top of it, because my mason actually prefers that to compact, like for the final level of compaction prior to his slab. So the reason I switched to a 3/4 clean and then DGA is cost, to be completely honest. The 3/8 clean was $1,500 a truckload. I can get 2 truckloads of 3/4 clean for that, and I can get 3 truckloads of DGA. So the 3/4 clean drains well. That's a little bit bigger. That'll serve as a good base against our sand on the bottom of the hole inside of their 3/8 clean footing. And then we got that all raked out, and I put the DGA on top, and I'm now currently in the process of grading that and compacting that, which is a lot of work. I've actually ripped the calluses off of my hands from all of that. I was trying to figure a way that I could drop my tractor into the hole, because I'm like, this is just so much work. But I don't have the equipment to do that. So I'm getting close with that. Being that I'm working other jobs, I'm trying to make a little bit of money. I got to a certain point in the job, and I have some sub work coming up. I have to get the slab poured, but first I have to get my base compacted. I'm going to put 2 pipes in the sub base for the slab that I won't tie in now, but they'll be perforated pipe that are buried into the stone underneath the slab that will serve for radon mitigation if we ever need that down the road, so I don't have to try and do that after the fact. I have our sump pump pits in. So the next thing for me, I'm waiting on a delivery of rock wool. So by code, I need 2 feet on the inside of insulation inside of our footing. And at that point, it's a conditioned crawl space. All our utilities are going to be down there. I was like, let's put insulation under all of it. So we're waiting on some 2-inch comfort board for underneath of there. So I'll grade out the stone. I'll compact it, make sure we're within tolerance. And then I'll put that comfort board essentially on the entire bottom, except for everything that's structural. It's not going to go right on the footing. It's not going to go on the pads where the posts are going to go. But I'll install all of that, and then I'm going to be using a stego membrane, which I can dig into the details of that. I've been working with them to try and figure out what products work for my basement, how I'm going to seal the vapor barrier against the precast concrete wall, because it's a little different than a block wall. It's a little different than a standard poured wall. So just going over the details, understanding what products are best going to work there. So as soon as I know that, I'll brief you guys on them. I initially was just going to use a standard poly, and then started digging into what the other options are out there and just what better options there are, and started speaking with them and with Rockwool and with my mason, and just doing this once, doing this right. For the small amount of money, there's better options out there for longevity, especially with the conditioned crawl space and trying to maintain health and comfort within the home. It just makes sense. So after we get the Rockwool down, we'll get the stego on top of that. We'll seal everything. We'll seal it to our precast walls, and then we'll pour the slab. Because it's a crawl space, my architect initially spec'd post embedded in the concrete, adjustable post. I can't have the floor frame in there and expect them to put a rat slab down there. So I'm going to hold off on the post. I'm going to draw up a new detail. The architect said he would sign off on for me, and our posts will go in afterwards. So once the slab's placed, I know where all of my posts are going. I know where all of my pads are. At that point, my floor is all hung in the house. So it's a 4-foot crawl space. We wanted 4 feet of clearance in there. I didn't want drop beams that were 10 inches and then I have 3 feet and then my ducts are going under that. So now I'm down to like 1.5 feet, 2 feet, where I'm trying to service things down there, get down there if I need to move around, if we need to run wires, whatever it may be down the road. I wanted more space. So we're actually hanging the floor so there'll be posts and flush beams. So once I get the slab in, I can then get all of my plates set. I can get a plate inspection, make sure that all the anchors are all set. And at that point, the inspector doesn't need to see anything else until we get our floor framing in. So I'll get my plates in, my rim joist in, I'll get all our beams set, and then I'll start hanging that floor because it's going to be hung. It'll be sitting on the exterior foundation, but then on all of the beams, which I think there's 4 across the floor, it's going to be hung with joist hangers. So I'm going to do all of that, and then we are going to be installing the LP Legacy subflooring. So the subflooring will go in. At that point, I know that I'm as good as can be. I'm as close as can be within tolerance. I'm not going to chase things to the 16th to 32nd of an inch. So I'll get my floor laid out. I make sure that the space, like once I have the deck and once I have the subflooring down, everything's all buttoned up. At that point, I'll be able to start laying out the space. I'll be able to have Rachel come over, take a look at it. I can start figuring out what's going where I might want to drop the subfloor because we're going to put tile in the bathroom. I'm not looking for flush floors everywhere within the space, right? If I can drop my subfloor between the floor joist with cleats and give myself an extra 3/4 inch, and our transitions are decent between the hardwood flooring and the tile, great. Right now I live in an old house. Sometimes we have 2.5 inch transitions. There's things that my clients want, there's things that I want. To me, that's not the end of the world. I'm not going to re-engineer my entire house to make sure that I have flush entries on every space. So I'll be able to go through that. I'll be able to look at what materials we're choosing. If I want to drop my subfloor, if I don't want to, I won't feel rushed. I won't have 6 dudes breathing down my throat trying to frame this house up. So the goal is for me to get that flooring, get my layouts done, make sure my openings for access are where they need to be, make sure my posts and my beam supports and everything are good to go, make sure that I know where I'm dropping the subfloor in the bathrooms if we want to aid with the tile so that we're closer to flush at that point. I'll just make sure that everything's good to go. And at that point, once everything's laid out, I'll bring in some help to help me stand up walls. The roof is trussed, so I'll get a crane in and some guys to help me truss the roof and then sheet the building, just because it's too much for me, and for what they can sheet it for and the amount of help that I need and what it would take me to frame all the walls. And I've never done trusses on a roof with a crane. I don't want somebody in a crane waiting on me to fly trusses in being like, what is this dude doing? So I'll bring some people in to help me do that. It'll be a week worth of work, get the whole house framed, sheeted. At that point, I will be bucking out my windows and getting ready for our Andersen window install, because we're going to also be having exterior insulation on the house because we're not doing spray foam in the walls. So I have to buck out all those windows to account for our furring, to account for our rock wool. And once I get all those bucks out, I get all the ceiling done, everything taped, I'll be installing the Andersen windows and doors, which I'm really excited about. It's going to be crazy to think that I'm very close to that, to start getting those things in, and then I can get a roof on it. I think what I'm going to try and do, in a perfect world, I would get all of my utility rough-ins and done and figure out where I want to punch them through the house, get that all done prior to siding. But being that me doing this myself, and I don't want to be outsiding my house and putting a roof on it in the middle of winter, what I'm going to attempt to do, because it's a bit complicated with the rock wool and the furring strips and the detailing, it's not as though it's like, hey, we're going to punch a pipe through the house, just hole saw it and then caulk it. It's a little bit more complicated with the rain screen and with the rock wool insulation and the furring strips and everything else. Is I'm going to do my best to lay out where all of our utilities are going to come through the wall and what we're going to need, so that I can figure out where I need all my blocking, where I need all my penetration, so if I go back and we decide that we need to change something or add something or move something, it's not a ton of work on my part to be able to do that. So then I can get the outside somewhat finished. And then in the winter months, I can move my way inside and start getting my rough-ins done, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, all of that stuff. But at least the outside of the house will be buttoned up more than dried in, and all my penetrations will be taken care of. So that's the plan for me right now. That might change tomorrow. Again, I'm looking to work around a bunch of jobs. I'm looking to work around sequencing. I'm looking to work around money. There's a big learning curve for me with this entire process. It's not as though I'm building a house in a subdivision, right? I'm developing land that didn't have any approvals on it. There's no utilities to it. We don't have sewer. We don't have, I have to bring in they brought in a new utility pole. I have to run service underground. We have septic. We have well. So although we're on a main road, it's really developing a site, and there's been a lot to learn. There's been it's taken a lot of time and a lot of energy. And again, being that I'm self-performing so much of this, I'm just trying to sequence this in a way that I can keep moving forward, but I'm not creating a ton of additional work for myself down the road. So there's some things that I'm going to be doing, not necessarily backwards, but prior. In a perfect world, I would be waiting, or I'd be holding off, or I get this done. But being that a lot of it's just me, there's things that I need to get done to account for seasonal changes and weather and everything else, my timeline, what type of time I have to allocate to the house. So I'm going to be picking and choosing and doing things somewhat in not an illogical manner, but just a bit of an unorthodox manner to try and keep things moving forward while still creating a really a nice project. So I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited for these next steps. Again, the next step for me is going to be getting that slab prepped, getting the mason in, and then getting my floor framing, start framing the deck out, the plates, and the subflooring, all of that. And then at that point, I feel that I'm pretty good. I feel that I have a lot of things sorted out, worked out. We'll get those walls banged out and stood up and the roof on and get it sheeted in no time. And then it's just going to be bucking things out for me, waterproofing, all that stuff, and getting the windows in, and then figuring out the insulation details. So really exciting. I have a ton of really great things coming my way. Everyone who's partnered with me on this job has been absolutely incredible. And I'm still continuing to reach out to companies where it's like, hey, I need this, or what's the best application, or what's the best thing that I could use in this situation. I have companies who are hopping on phone calls with me, telling me what they would use. Hey, we have this product. Let's try this. I think this would be really great for your application, walking me through details, educating me on how to do it. I mean, for example, Sashco, I've worked with for a long time, and I reached out to them. They're like, let's discuss your sill application on this precast foundation wall. We have some ideas. It's a bigger sill plate than normal, so let's discuss what we think would work. I just came home to a bunch of product for me to look at to figure out how to make this assembly work, how to get it as airtight, as watertight as possible. So just I'm really grateful for those opportunities. Stego, right? Just recently reaching out to them, and them just willing to help me out and explain what products I should be using where, how I should be using them, just really walking me through this with things that I haven't done before to ensure that I can go into this confidently and I can execute these things confidently. So I say it all the time, it's so much about the relationships in this industry, and I've really been able to witness that as I've been putting everything in order for this house with my relationship with LP and what products I should be using there, and siding and structurals. And I have Rockwool, who is detailing all of the exterior elements for me, as well as the interior, as well as soundproofing, which is just absolutely incredible. And I'm so humbled to be able to get that help from them. And it's not just, hey, product, it's we're going to tell you how to do this. We're going to develop a system, or alter a system that we have to work on your house, your climate zone, your assembly, what your needs are, what your wants are for this house. Initially, I was going to build an old house, a new old house, and then it got to a point where it's like realizing as the timeline's progressing and what this is going to take, this might not be our forever house. The girls, right, by the time I'm done, Selby's going to be well into high school. Tilly will be wrapping up with the middle school. Do I want to spend 5 years and all of my money creating this fully custom detailed house for what? Like if it's for my family and it's going to take longer, they're not going to be here and it's going to alter our lifestyle because I'm spending more time and money on it. To me, that's not an even trade-off. So initially I reached out to Design with Frank. We really liked one of their floor plans. They're not local to us. They sell plans online. They helped us. They set us up with a designer to help alter the plans to fit us better. And the floor plan and work out some details, just simple things. We made some minor modifications. But we liked the overall layout of the house. It was small. It was designed to be relatively efficient. There's a couple things that we changed. And then I worked with an architect that I work with that does a lot of my structural drawings that's local to me, to sort out what I needed to with the design so that I could get it through permitting. We worked with a really great local truss company to get the trusses designed. We made some changes. They went back and changed things, really no questions asked. That was Concord Truss Company. That was a referral from my buddy Dom. Everyone except for PSE&G Electric, they're a pain in the ass. The gas, PSE&G gas was amazing to deal with. PSE&G Electric is a pain in my ass. And one of the stone companies that I dealt with is a pain in my ass. But everyone else has been lovely to deal with, and it's been fun. It's been a huge learning process. But yeah, really excited to continue moving forward. I've gotten really great support online documenting this so far. So many people just, the support of what I'm doing, and I couldn't do this without friends. I couldn't do this without family. I couldn't do this without my podcast host, co-host, editors, Dave in the background, Doug in the background, every one of you who have enrolled in courses and invested in our podcast and listened to our podcast. I couldn't do it without any of you, without my wife, without Polly, Gus too, I guess. But it's been fun. It's been exciting. It's been stressful. There's been a ton of learning, and I'm just going to continue documenting this as I go through it. And if you have questions, let me know. I'm here to answer them. I'm not building the top 1% house. I'm not building the bottom 1% house. I'm looking to build a good house that works for our family, that people can afford to build, and that I'm not going to have to spend my life maintaining. And that's not necessarily what I do for work every single day, but I also have a different program than what a lot of my clients have, and I have a very specific client based on the type of work that I do and how much work I need to do, and that fits my program for work, but that's not necessarily what I'm doing on my own house. There's going to be nice details. I'll execute things really well, but I'm not looking to build the top 1% type of house in the world. I'm probably building what many of you guys and girls could imagine being a house that you can live in. So really excited to keep moving forward with this. It's been a trip so far. I've enjoyed it. It's had ups, it's had downs, but we're just going to keep pushing forward. So if you guys need anything, if you have any questions, if you want more insight on something that I'm using, please reach out to me. Let me know. If you see me using a product on the house and you're interested in it or you want a connection with them, reach out to me. I'll hook you up. All the companies that I've been working with, the products that I'm using, I fully endorse them, not only for their products, but for the people as well. They're really great companies to work with and have their products in your homes or on your projects. As far as Modern Craftsman go, I just spent an hour and a half going through all of our documents for most of the coursework that we're putting out. Primarily speaking, there's like 40 documents for the pre-construction course 2, which is now Clarity Before Construction. So I went through all of those documents, all of those deliverables, getting the final edits on all of them. So we should have that up and running pretty shortly here. I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. It's a ton of information, a ton of material, and it's going to be very professional, very polished. So super excited about that. Appreciate everyone's patience while they're waiting for that. We have a lot of the other documents for the rest of the courses of the whole system being created right now, so we're definitely on the move there. And what else? Modern Craftsman Circle community, if you want to be a part of that. It's a really great community. It's a little bit more involved than just listening to the website or listening to the podcast. But if you have questions about your business, if you have questions about what Nick's doing, I'm doing, whatever other person on there is doing, go on there, pop in, ask a question. Everyone is willing to help, not just myself and Nick, but you could just get a really great insight. It's very affordable to be in there and have that community and access to Modern Craftsman. So check that out. I could get you a direct link. The easiest way I would say to do it right now, as we're reformatting things on the back end, is to go to our Modern Craftsman Pod Instagram, hit the link tree, all the links for the newsletter, the Circle community, the coursework, all should be in there. So check that out there as we're revamping and revising the coursework and the website and all those things. So appreciate everyone's patience, appreciate all the support. Thank you to Andersen Windows for sponsoring this podcast. We have a couple other things in the works. Nick and I are going to be creating some more content for them as well for the 2026-2027 year. So very grateful for them, all that they do for us, and I'm very grateful for all of you for hanging around and listening. If you need anything, let me know. I am still doing consulting calls. People ask me that all the time. My calendar may not always be open just because it changes so often. So I tell people, if you want to hop on and do a consulting call, I have my regulars, but then I do have time for other people. You just have to shoot me an email, tyler@trghomeconcepts.com, and I'll let you know how that works, how I can get you set up, what the rates are, what you can expect, but just shoot me an email. That's the best way to do that. All right, guys and girls, thank you very much. If I don't see you, if I don't talk to you, enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Be safe, and I'll catch you guys soon.